as a parent-teacher organization, a PTO or PTA leader of your school parent group, or even as a volunteer, I'm sure that your group probably already has bylaws. If you don't, you totally need them, but that is not what today's video is about. Today's video is all about why you actually need standing rules. If you are not familiar, standing rules are totally different than bylaws. Your bylaws are going to be setting out kind of the big picture ideas for your group. They are going to be like covering things like the name of your group, what community it serves, what officers you need to have. The standing rules, although they're considered optional, I don't think they really should be optional, because I think that they are super, super valuable to any school parent group, and that every single one should have them because they help figure out the how. So the bylaws are more closer to like the what and the why, and the standing rules are going to be the how and the when. So they're going to give all of the details. And together, those two documents, the bylaws and the standing rules, are going to make up your group's governing documents. Sounds super fancy. It is not. Just means that they are the guiding documents that kind of rule supreme for your group. The bylaws are definitely the Constitution, the equivalent to the Constitution for the United States, that same importance, so that they are the supreme document that rules over everything else. And then standing rules are closer to like the Bill of Rights. So the comparison, it's not like exactly right, but I'm just go with my example here. So at the very top level, the standing rules are lesser in importance than the bylaws. So the bylaws rule supreme, then next comes the standing rules, and then comes everything that's not written down, I guess. So if you really want it to be effective for your group, you need to write it down and have a record of what exactly you guys are supposed to be doing. Let's talk about why I think you should be having those standing rules in addition to what I've already said. Having standing rules avoids a wild, wild west situation where people are just making things up as they see fit. Sometimes that can be a good thing, but a lot of times it can be a bad thing, especially when someone is making up the rules to kind of suit their own needs. Maybe their needs aren't the best for the entire group though. Maybe they just suit Susie and not the entire parent-teacher organization as a whole. And so that can be a really big problem, especially if people are just making up rules and then they are willy-nilly disregarding them. It just makes it that it makes for a very unstable group. And so if you have things documented in the standing rules, then you have literally the rules of the game that you're going to be playing by. And to me, that sounds more fair than just having it be whatever someone feels like on the spur of the moment, and that it changes from person to person. Let's take the example of something. I'm trying to think of something really consequential that would like be very meaningful to your group. So let's talk about elections. If it is not spelled out in your standing rules, like when the election, or your bylaws, because you could put them in either place really, but the difference, another difference between the two, is because bylaws are so important to your group, they take a lot longer to update and amend. Like you can't just propose a change in one meeting and vote on it in the very same meeting. Usually bylaws will say you have to present it 1 month and have like a waiting period before you can vote on it, where standing rules are supposed to be more fluid and more accurately capture your group as it is right now, so it can change in the moment. So you can propose a change in the same meeting that you vote on the change, depending on the outcome of the vote. If the majority of the group, if you have quorum to make the change, then the change happens immediately. So like if you didn't have the specifics of how to run an election, how officers are supposed to be nominated, who is qualified to be an officer, who can be a leader for the group, how, a lot of groups run with like a nominating committee. If you don't have a nominating committee, how do people nominate themselves? And here's where I think it could get really dangerous, because egos get involved, is sometimes people will say, well, should we have debates if there's two people who are really interested in being president? Like, should they debate each other? Or should we have them make formalized statements? Or should we have like campaigns? That can really get back into 7th grade mean girl kind of stuff. So I would really recommend against that. And I think that people just need to kind of talk amongst themselves and figure out who they think is most qualified. That's one thing you could address in your standing rules, and to say there are to be no debates. That could be super damaging. I've been in meetings where multiple people are running for a position, and it's gotten a little heated even without the debate. So I can even imagine how it would be kind of really bad, kind of really uncomfortable if people were to decide that that was a good idea. So anyway, that's just one example. I'm sure you can think of a bunch of others. And the reason I say standing rules are so important is because I get so many different PTO leaders from across the whole world coming to me with different situations. And I'm like, ooh, you could just address this in your governing documents and then this wouldn't be an issue. Standing rules really help you to create a mini user guide or a mini procedure book for your PTO so that you're not making it up on the fly, and that if you have an issue pop up, that you just consult the standing rules and you know exactly how to proceed. So that is a great thing. The last reason your group should have standing rules is that it really allows your group to grow and not constantly be recreating the wheel each time, so that you're going to be able to grow, you're going to be able to improve, you're going to be able to level up each time instead of starting back at wherever the new leaders are, whatever their experience level is, their knowledge level is, because there is no doubt that a person who's been volunteering in the schools for a number of years has more experience than someone who this is their first year. Doesn't matter their age, doesn't really matter their career, their education, that it's the experience in the school that can be so helpful for guiding PTOs. If you are confused about what should be going in your bylaws, what should be going in your standing rules, do I really need both? The answer is yes, you do need both. Go ahead and get the bylaws and standing rules made easy kit. It lays out the entire process for you. There are comprehensive, detailed templates in there, and you will see, when you see the templates, they are 100% customizable. You get them in like Google Docs, so that format, so there's nothing that you can't change in them. You will understand why you need to have both, and you will also not have to bother with figuring out the whole process of how to create them or how to update them. You will get it done the first time the right way and have full confidence in the whole process. So if you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I hope this has been so helpful for you and that you will join me for my next video.